Welcome to Mac Kites, Jeff.
And I'm Tucker.
And we're excited today with the Omen boards behind us. It's a shop favorite, customer favorite, and they're extending their lineup.
That's right. It's been one of our favorite boards. Been one of the most popular high performance boards with the Flux. This past year and a half, however long we've had these in here. Definitely one of our go-to high performance boards, and now we're expanding that.
We are.
With some new models here.
And with the new models, they've kept with their marketing with the black carbon look with the white blend.
Yeah, I got the white tail dip, which is a cool look. If you don't like the white, get out your paint pens, get out your spray cans, and it's a blank canvas, so you can do whatever you want with it. Yeah.
But excited about getting on and riding the two new ones we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, let's get into it. A little overview, and we'll ride them. Definitely get some more in-depth into knowledge and come back to you guys with some more specific reviews on the models and how we're liking them and in what conditions and all that. But today we'll just talk you through the lineup and why they're there and what their intention is. So buckle up.
Start with the Flux.
Yeah, the go-to, the Flux.
And I think they're ahead of the curve with board design with the Flux, as being a board that can be kind of a second board.
Yeah.
All-arounder.
Yeah, kind of a mid-lengthy, not too long, but high-performance mid-length. They definitely...
The Omen came before the mid-length term is becoming more mainstream now.
Yeah.
So, like I said, ahead of the curve with their board design with longer, narrower versus shorter. So, a good all-around board, one that we sell a lot of because of its all-roundness, its length, narrowness, good performance.
Yeah, and I think for the majority of the riders out there that aren't brand new, this is still a go-to board. If you want a one-board quiver, if you want one board that's easy to ride in varied conditions, but also very high performance, it's really hard to go wrong with the Flux. This has been my favorite board since we've had it, but I am excited to have some new flavors in a similar setup to really, fine-tune and hone in
subtle
those
refinements.
Yeah, whereas this is more of a one-board quiver. Now that we have these, I might be moving to a two-board light wind, pair wing, and high performance kind of a quiver with two-board quivers. So that is the way it's sort of set up, is the SuperMarine being your bigger guy, light wind, new rider kind of a board, very user-friendly, don't need a lot of power to get it up, really stable, easy to ride, but also still following that same longer, narrower, thinner mantra. So you can definitely ride these smaller than you'd think.
This is called a SuperMarine.
SuperMarine.
And right here we've got the 95.
Yep.
Let's give them a spec on that. Do we have the...
Yeah, so this one is 95 liters, 6'1", 22.5 wide, which sounds really narrow, but don't let it scare you away. The length adds a lot of that stability and ease of use. Your foil is going to do a lot of the stabilizing side to side, and having a board that's too wide side to side can really throw you around as well and chop in waves. So having something that's a bit more reactive is actually a good thing, definitely a good thing with regard to getting started non-foil with less power. So.
And without riding it and just looking at it, you said three things about what kind of riders this is for. I definitely agree, bigger rider, one board quiver, light wind for more if you've been riding for a while, more of an intermediate advanced rider, but you did say a new rider.
Yeah, I think if you size it properly, we could definitely put this board under the feet of an athletic new rider or somebody that's done some foil sports in the past. If I was getting into the sport and I'd done lots of kite foiling and wake foiling before I got to winging and prone, I would jump into the 95 liter.
So let's put some context. Starts at 95?
95 and then 105 are the two sizes they're offering in this. And the key is, for most people, you're going to want to size down, because with all Omens, they're really built to be ridden smaller in terms of volume and a little longer in terms of length. And so that's where the balance is.
And that's where those of you that have been watching the videos and reading up about this, the MIDI, the longer boards, narrower, they do feel more stable. You don't look at the liters as much. You look at their length and their sizes. And so I would agree that you can size down if you're just looking at liters. I would really suggest not looking at liters when you're looking at these kind of boards. So
yeah, never.
More about the length, their width, and their shape.
Yeah, and the literage matters for light wind. If you're 250 pounds and you want to ride in 8 to 10 knots, you're going to need some volume so that the board stays at the surface of the water. But as soon as the board starts moving Now most of that board isn't doing anything. It's just riding on top of the water. So that's what really matters.
So an athletic new rider that weighs probably 180 and below,
95 liter.
Could do the 95 or the 105 liter
Yep.
right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. Yeah. You know,
That
you're
could
going to
some-
have an extra couple of moments of frustration maybe.
Yep,
But,
I would agree.
You know, 2 sessions in, it's going to be perfect. And you're going to be really happy that your board isn't bigger than it needs to be.
And potentially, made me think about, it could be a board that you wouldn't have to just size down right away or get, think of it's your beginner board. It's a board that you could stick with for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty happy on a 95 in similar models. I haven't ridden this one yet, but really excited to get on it because I don't think I'm going to find much compromise. I mean, if you're doing jumping, obviously that's going to matter a little bit, but you could jump on this board. It has foot straps. It's solid build. But getting into bigger waves, I mean, it's only 6'1". It's not 7 feet long. So it's still pretty nimble. You still only have, a little nose in front of your feet.
Yep.
And it's not that bad of a deal to have a little bit more board under your feet when you touch down accidentally on a 10-foot wave. Then you're going to be able to recover. If you're on a 5-foot board and you touch down, it's game over. So
we've covered a lot of territory with the SuperMarine, but do you feel the marketing for this board is strong for maybe a one-board quiver for a larger rider?
Yep.
That's intermediate to, advanced rider.
Yeah.
Or for someone that would like use this in lighter wind, but also like cheat the lower, higher wind while and stay on it because of it's not over like 6.5, 7 feet long for the leaders of this. All right, good. SuperMarine.
Yeah, and the last kind of niche I think this fits is these boards are so versatile. Is this would work, for a heavier guy prone, for prone downwind, or if you're learning to prone ride, it'll work for that. Fantastic dimensions for para-wing. So if you're para-winging, having a little bit bigger board definitely helps as you're learning or in lighter conditions. A lot of times with para-wing, you want to fly the smallest sail possible. So having a little more board under your feet can really help with that. And then lastly, if you're an advanced paddleboarder that wants a wave paddleboard, foil board, this would be something to consider as well.
Again, 2 sizes, 95 and 105.
Yep. And so for guys our size, I mean, the 105 would be more of a paddleboard size. You need to have experience. You don't want to be in first board. No, this is a third board kind of a thing for.
I tried that
paddleboarding, but
and I got humbled.
Yeah. And it's just an efficient, fast board. So I think moral of the story for the entire lineup, if you think you want a 110, you want a 95. If you think you want a 120, you want a 105. If you think you want a 70, you want a 60. If you think you want a 60, you want a 50. That's the way it kind of sizes down if you're talking volume, because a lot of people do. But the real thing to pay attention to is length. Anybody jumping into an Omen board from another board, I would say, how long is the board you're riding now? They say, oh, well, it's 5'6", but it's 95 liters. Let's say, get a 70.
Yeah, I like the idea of this being kind of a crossover. A board that you can wing. You can do para-wing with it, prone, and potentially, if you're a really good waterman, like a lot of our customers are, you spend some time paddling, you could potentially paddle up on it.
Yeah, I think it goes a lot to show how much work Greg and us have put in on the design of these.
Because you were part of it a little bit, right?
Yeah, we talked it over. We discussed some dims and box placements and things, and Greg's really excellent on design end in computer modeling and all that fancy stuff, and he really knows the high-end stuff really well, and obviously has designed some great boards. But we're really great at the beginner intermediate level. We talk to people every day, setting them up, talking to those people about how to overcome those basic hurdles, in the learning process and the progression, up to upper intermediate. That's where most people are in the market today. So having an option for those riders, or more options for those riders, I should say, is a cool thing to have with the SuperMarine. So
breaking into that higher performance, but also be able to engage with it, easily engage with it, and have success with it.
Yeah, and 2 more small details in this one. Sorry, I keep forgetting.
It's all good. No, that's good.
New traction pad this year. So we've got the brush diamond. It's comfy. It's got great grip. You don't need wax.
Nope.
The previous Flux had kind of that brushed, thin grip that, especially in cold weather, would get a little slippery. So we'd always use wax with it. These ones don't need wax. You've got a offset Front pattern here with a center line option, so you can run a V-strap now.
V-strap on it, nice.
And a center line in the back, just to keep it light, keep it simple, but have some good options there, whether you want to run 2 straps, a V, a single strap down kind of the crossing middle route like we've done in the past. There's a lot of cool options for the foot straps, but they didn't go nuts and add a bunch of weight. So that's
good.
That's
and I always like when we're talking foot straps to remind customers and riders that straps are for later in the game.
Yeah.
Not learning right out of the gate.
Yeah, yeah. If you're jumping or if you're later in the game, you're riding confidently, that's when you can consider straps. And that's a whole nother video altogether and into why and how and to set them up. But
yep, I just like to say that.
Now that we're talking straps, we'll go back to our Flux here. That has the straps. They're offset on the front and the back. So if you're getting into a Flux, you still got strap options.
Ooh.
No strap options.
No, but this one.
Right here with the Emissary. So this is kind of the next generation of Flux in terms of high performance. And this is one you and I have been really probably most excited about.
And ironically, before I got to see this, because we just unboxed these today, we were having a discussion about some of our favorite boards and what we'd do differently. Unbeknownst to me, what I've been saying with boards similar to this in the market, just a smidge narrower and a smidge longer.
Yep.
And this board fits that.
Yeah, that thinner, extended nose, you know, rather than going here and having this big, thick, you know, extend it a little bit more, nice and thin so it swings through the wind really clean. Mm-hmm. Just a really surfy outline, but gaining that length, man, it makes everything so much more user-friendly. If you touch down, it's just back up.
Completely. And this board, let's put some specs to it. 5'6", 19.5.
Yep, 55 liters.
55 liters.
Yep.
Which, you know, I've been really finding my home spot with that 60 to 70 liter in powered up conditions. This board definitely fits that niche for me.
Yeah.
This would be something that I feel intermediate riders, advanced riders, 15 knots plus. Generally, if you weigh between 150 to 210, 220, could probably get away with. This is the sizes it's going to come in are, there's like 6, they go down to, do you remember the smallest sizes?
30, I think,
30
roughly.
Up. The largest they come in though is going to be around
78 liters.
78 liter. But with a 5'6", I think that's a great length for, again, that front to back stability when you're trying to get up in really undulating wave conditions. Very efficient once you get up to speed and riding. And like you said, because of its little bit narrowness, a little bit thinner in the nose, you don't feel like you're riding a real big board when you're big waves.
Yeah, and the key to that really, I mean, if I put you on a 4'6", 55 liter, you probably wouldn't be quite as happy about it. Mm-hmm. And neither would I, especially at 200 pounds. 55 liters right at home, as long as it's in that, you know, 5'5", 5'6" range. Going a little longer, yep, and not overly wide where it's just plowing water. This thing is super efficient.
It's called the Emberson. Is that the name?
Emissary.
Emissary.
There we go.
Got to get it right. Sorry about that, Omen.
So real flat, you know, rocker line through here. A little flip in the tail, just a tiny bit to help rock that foil up and not be too flat. And then just a real low entry, mellow rocker here. A lot of designers in the industry could pay attention to that.
I agree 100%.
Coming from the surf background, if you want a board to be quick, if you want it to be efficient, having a low, long entry rocker like this, not going flat, 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 elf shoe, is way more efficient, way more fun. It rebounds off the water better.
Less tracky too. I like how this can...
Yeah, it's a wiggle wiggle.
Yeah, you can kind of get it where you want it to be for that speed and power.
Yep.
Totally agree with that. I do like
real
that.
Rolled kind of hull on this into these real flat, wide chines. So they're creating a lot of lift, but they're also not in the way. They're not creating a sticking point. So once you get up to speed, really this board is incredibly narrow in this flat section, straight out the back. So it really just
good track placement
gets
too.
going.
I mean, if you find your sweet spot with it, it's not going to feel like you have a lot out front.
Yep, lots of track space in this. Whether you're on, you know, a behind your foot kind of foil or in front of your foot kind of foil, there's a lot of space to play with.
That I think you pointed out already, I love how they took the pad all the way to the edges. Again, it gives you some real estate, even though this is a 5'6", 19.5. you can use all of the board.
Yeah, and it's real mellow concave. There is a slight concave through the deck. It deepens a little bit under your front foot, which is great. But yeah, it's real flat all the way to the rail, and then it's got a really hard rail here, so you can really get your feet all the way out here. So originally when Greg and I were talking about shapes and designs and sizes, I was like, oh man, 19 and a half, like generally I like to be in like that 20 and a half zone for a 55. You know, is it going to be too thick? And we're like playing with it and seeing it in person, it's perfect. I mean, I love the way the pad comes out, how flat it is. You really can stand anywhere on this board. You could curl your toes over the edge of this thing if you wanted to really gain some purchase on it. But they're making the most of the width and not adding anything else that you don't need, just to make these kind of soft, mush, hard to hold on to rails. This thing is,
agreed.
You can grab it.
And this board really is for the customer out there that's looking for that. I like to use an old school word, charging board, you know, wind 15 knots and plus. You can see this in all kind of wave conditions. I mean, even into shoulder high, head high with this length of the board. I know a lot of that can it's kind of where the industry's heading a little bit. I mean, I've really, from all the different boards I've been on, that little added length can really help, especially when you're in the water, getting up to speed a little quicker, and you can size down to a smaller board, you know, than you would.
Smaller foil.
Smaller foil.
As long as you got some length, you can really cut down your foil size and be on a ripper of a foil,
which is huge,
and not stress about it.
Yeah,
which is a big deal, especially when you really start to progress. I mean, we shot that wave video recently. We talked in depth about how your foil choice really determines what kind of turns you can make and where you can go on a wave. So a lot of times when you can, sizing down is the key, and having a board like this can really help you with that. Again, same thing, Parawing is the hot new thing. It's going to be huge this year. Having boards that are adaptable, so you know, you might be a winger, but maybe one day you want to try prone because there's no waves. This board works fantastic for it. If you get into Parawing and you're riding something like the SuperMarine for lighter days, and then you're ready for something a bit more of a shredder when the wind gets good and you learn kind of the basics of it, this is the kind of board I ride for Parawing in good wind. So
gotta know what you're doing.
Having that length, having a board that's easy to ride is key for that. And yeah, going shorter is infinitely harder on the Parawing. It's not about the volume, again, it's about that length and being able to get planing. So
again, we've got the SuperMarine, the
Emissary,
and
the Flux.
And we have not yet ridden either of these. I'm excited.
Maybe this week. We're amped to get on them. So
winter's on us, but it won't stop us from getting on the water.
Yeah, one more thing here before we go with a little bonus content. The wider sizes on your Flux and your SuperMarine come with an FCS fin box. So you're going to get one of these G10 fins. And the idea here is, number one, to give you a handle that you can hang on to when you're carrying the board because they're a little wider. But also, on a lighter wind day, these give you a little bit more forward drive and traction when the board's on the water, so that you can drive against that wing a little bit more rather than just getting pulled downwind sideways. So this little handy tool is nice. You don't need to have that big handle cavity. You don't need to use it if you want to just hang on by your mast, or you can get your arm around it. But this is a handy little invention that no other brand is doing that I'm aware of.
Only them.
So that's pretty cool. Construction-wise, these boards are all made in the Apple Tree factory in Portugal. So they are green certified, whatever level I forget, but it's part of the EcoBoard project. If you're into that kind of thing, it's pretty cool. And they're made to last.
If you get a ding in there, there's a closed cell foam in there that you don't have to get it repaired right away or be concerned about getting any water in it. We do suggest in the long run, though, that you do put a little covering on there. Yeah,
weakens the board is the biggest thing, I would say. If you ding it in a downwind run, finish the downwind run, no stress. If you're on a trip and you don't have any epoxy, no one to repair it, ride it. Unless it's really bad, just ride it. It's fine. This exact board, actually, I had a ding on it somewhere along here, right about there, I think. I rode it for about 4 months without touching it, just as an experiment. It didn't pick up a single ounce of weight.
Amazing.
Repaired it. Good as new, easy to repair with these boards. So the Apple Tree construction is something that you can look to invest in, keep for a long time. It's not gonna, you know, degrade in 5 years and become useless. It's gonna hold its value. It's something you can hang on to forever if you keep it in good repair, take care of it. So it's pretty special construction. We're huge fans.
Big time. Good construction, great performance. Shop favorite.
What's not to like?
That's right.
Worth every penny, man.
No, nice job. Definitely Omen on there. Introducing some new options for more performance, and excited to get out and give them a try.
Yeah, jump into the links down below. Check out the product pages, the sizes that might work for you. Reach out to us if you have any questions, and we'll be back to you with some in-depth reviews once we get a few sessions on them and really having a deeper knowledge of the ins and outs of these boards. So we're excited to bring that to you guys.